Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dallas Live. I am your host, Dr. RC. The number to call is 469 795 8580. The number again is area code 469 795 8580. Well, today we have our featured guest, Dawnna St Louis, and she is an international self confidence expert, speaker, a top selling author, and she brings highly impactful, trajectory changing content with a touch of humor to the audience all over the globe. Dawnna, welcome to our program.
Thank you so much. It's awesome to be here.
All right, very good. Now, we have obtained a, video of your performance, not from NSA, but from YouTube. So you may not be able to hear it. I'm going to play that for a couple of minutes. This is the Dawnna St Louis, the top female international motivational speaker. It's coming out of YouTube, and let's go ahead and play this first, and let's get our audience some background about you. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Dawnna.
Where would you be if you dared to take what you needed to be successful? We're about to toilet paper an audience. Everybody has streamers? Because you all have to clean this stuff up later. I just want to make sure. Some of these streamers are 100 feet long. Some of these streamers are 20 feet long. Some of them are 3 feet long. Where it starts.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's Dawnna St Louis. She was talking about on this particular video about the toilet paper on the audience, and they will have to clean it up after the show is over. Dawnna, welcome. All right, Dawnna. Well, let's get right to it. So, with the usual questions we ask our featured guest is. What did they do at the early part of their life, where they were born, and what are they doing now, and what's in the future for them? Now, I know that's a bunch of loaded questions. Answer the best you can.
Okay, let's see. Yes, I was definitely born. I knew that part for sure. So we got that. Ooh, nailed question number one. I was actually a certified project manager as well as a former programmer. And I ran a business intelligence company as a chief technology officer for about, I guess it was 8, 9, 10 years, and then we sold it. And before I was 40 years old, I retired and had to find something else to do because there's just so much waxing and painting and getting your hair done that you can do before you really start going crazy. So that was the early part of my life.
Okay, so what are you doing now?
And now I actually do quite a bit of speaking. I speak specifically on confidence. I go into organizations and I give them the guts to shake things up. I work with a lot of times their creative team, their sales teams, and their marketing teams to help them be a little bit more innovative and really dare to own their confidence and their influence. And then I work as well with a lot of women's groups for the same thing. How can we have more diversity and inclusion in the talent pipeline for large organizations?
Okay, now let's get back to your 19-year-old. Now, according to the information I got here, you said that you lived in your car for 3 months. Tell me what forced you to live in your car for 3 months?
So I was in South Florida, and I decided to head I-95 north. Because there was just tragedy, tons of tragedy that was going on at home, and I really needed to get away. And the long and short of it is I had a school counselor, that explained to me that I would probably never see outside of Florida, and if I wasn't on drugs or welfare, then I'd probably be dead. And for some reason, I wanted his words really stuck, and it devastated me a little bit. And I wanted to see the Statue of Liberty. And I said, before I'm too drugged out to ever see the Statue of Liberty, or before I die, I want to go do that. So I had $20 whole in my pocket. Woot, woot. I was balling. So I had $20 in my pocket, and I got on I-95 and I went north. And right around the North Carolina-South Carolina border, my car decided that it did not want to see the Statue of Liberty as bad as I did. And that's where we broke down.
Okay.
Only one of us had a goal.
Okay.
So at that time, you got to realize I'm kind of a stubborn 19-year-old who refuses to even believe that I can't leave Florida, which I did successfully. I wasn't going to pick up the phone and call anyone. I was going to figure this out. I had to get it done. And it wasn't like I had a cell phone to call, and it wasn't like there were rich people in my household that I was going to pick up the phone and say, can you send me a car or a plane to come get me?
Right.
No. I had to figure this out. And as part of figuring it out, my car ended up being my house.
Okay. So now let's continue with this. Now, as a 19-year-old, you are somewhere between North and South Carolina, and the car breaks down, and you ended up living in the car. Now, isn't it scary? Because, for a 19-year-old girl to be in that situation.
It was, but I got to tell you, my car was looking out for me because it broke down near a police station. So it didn't break down in a place where I was going to be totally alone. It broke down near a police station, and it broke down more in the wooded area. So it was a smart car. It didn't let me completely down. And what I did was I befriended the police officers who, instead of having me towed to a place where they tow your cars, they actually had me towed closer to the police station. And they kind of took care of me. I wouldn't go to anyone's house, but they did take care of me. They made sure that I was, quote unquote, in my car at night, basically tucked in to go to sleep. And I worked at the YMCA during the day. I was barter cleaning off the equipment for showers and that type of thing, or cleaning off the equipment to steam my clothes so my clothes would be wrinkled if I wanted to go for a job interview.
Ah, okay. So you continued your life there, and then how did you end up giving your first speech at the Congressional Committee 6 years later?
Oh my gosh, I got a job, eventually working for a company called People's Telephone Company, and I learned a whole bunch about IT while I was there. When I left there, I started working for the U.S. District Court. So now here it is, I'm working for the U.S. District Courts as an IT trainer. I was just one of those people that could pick up information very quickly and easily, learn it well, and then be able to disseminate it. And so while I'm there working as a trainer, the federal judges needed a new federal courthouse in the Southern District of Florida. And they had tried for 5 years to get one, and they couldn't. Every time they'd go in front of a congressional committee, they would get just blasted. No, we're not going to give it to you. So these particular judges asked me if I would coach them on speaking well enough to give a presentation. They were coached to do the presentation. When we got there in front of this congressional committee, Judge James Lawrence King stood in front of the congressional committee and opened his lips and said the following: "We figure you good old boys have turned us down for money for the past 5 years because you don't like our ugly old faces." Now, you got to know, at this point, I am going through every note, and that is not how the speech is supposed to start at all. This is not what we practice.
All right.
Okay? So I'm 25 years old. Everyone is 1,000 years older than me, and they all have more degrees than I've ever even heard of, okay? And I'm a little freaked out at this point because already this presentation is going in the direction that we had not decided. So he turns and says, "So since you all don't like the way we look, we figured we'd bring somebody much prettier and much smarter and much younger to give the presentation."
Ah, okay. And he picked you?
He pointed at me, at which time I looked behind me to find who he was pointing at. And I ended up giving, in the total, we had a 3-hour presentation to give. And within 45 minutes, we had the approval and walked out with the approval for the courthouse, which now stands in the Southern District of Florida, and it's seen on lots of movies, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yep.
It's seen
Yep.
in a lot of movies. Means that the speech you gave in front of congressional committee.
No, the
Hmm.
courthouse. The courthouse because
Ah, the
it's
courthouse.
yeah,
Okay.
because it's a state of the art courthouse. It's seen in tons of movies
Oh, so there is a significant contribution right there. So
now.
now between the time you spend in your car and then the and 6 years later you are giving up this this speech in front of congressional committee.
Hmm.
What is that that motivated you to get up each morning out of that YMCA stall and out of by the way, what car were you driving?
What? Well, I was driving a Dodge Omni.
Dodge Omni. Okay, good.
Yes,
Okay, I
yes.
remember
It was
those.
it
All
was
right.
pewter. It was pewter. It was a hatchback. It was hot.
Especially, well, I guess was this during summertime when you were in that car?
No. I mean, the car was hot. It was sexy. It was a sexy pewter colored
Ah,
Dodge
I'm sorry.
Omni.
Well, I'm thinking about the temperature outside. Okay, all right, no problem. Okay, so between then and the congressional, you really have gone through a lot of trials and tribulations, even at that short 6 year period.
Yes, lots of trials and tribulations, but I never really saw them as things that were hurdle. I never saw them as things that were used to knock me down. And I
Hmm.
think a big part of it is perspective. It was a very long time. Someone actually had to tell me that I was quote unquote homeless because I never said I was homeless. I always said I lived in my car.
Okay.
So for me, it was always perspective. It was always looking at things as an opportunity more so than as something that knocked me down.
Ah, okay. Now you said you are a certified geek, and you
Yes.
have certified in several programming languages. And what are those languages?
C sharp, Java, um, C++. I am also a certified project management professional. So those are the top three. I used to also be a certified systems administrator for Microsoft, as well as a certified network administrator.
And the first one is C sharp.
C sharp, yes,
I
C
thought that
sharp.
was a key in a piano. Uh,
Exactly. That's exactly what it. That's exactly what it sounds like when people are screaming about it too. C sharp.
okay, so Donna is a programmer who can program in C sharp, C plus plus, Java, and few other things. Have you ever got trained in COBOL? No.
Oh my gosh, I did. Let me tell you, I did COBOL one time, and the person who told me to do COBOL had literally taken me from doing what we call 32-bit programming. So I'll give you an example. It's like going from driving a Ferrari to driving a Yugo. So you're like, well, where is the turbo boost? So it was a bigger challenge than it probably should have been.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. Driving a Ferrari to Yugo, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I know that means when you were doing this in, say, around 2000 or just a couple of years before 2000, there was a serious requirement for COBOL programmer for the Y2K problem. Were you
That's
involved in
right.
that? Were,
I worked with a lot of those people.
oh, okay, so that was the time. All right,
Hmm.
the conversation is going so fast. Here's what we are going to do, and we are going to listen to another video that was in YouTube. It says Dawnna St Louis confidence expert dash Y confidence. So let's listen to it. You may not be able to hear it, but I'm sure you know which video I'm talking about, correct?
Yes.
After we listen to this, we will come back and then we will continue our conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Dallas Live. I am your host, Dr. Ravi, and you're also talking to our featured guest, Dawnna St Louis. She is a motivational expert and she's going to give us some ideas about the mojo. That's next section. We will be right back. Here it comes.
The reason I chose confidence is because people have self-limiting beliefs that literally stop them from moving forward. When I started out in business, I did not have a degree and I worked in the male-dominated field of computer programming. I was consistently told that I simply did not belong there. But it was confidence and belief in myself that allowed me to pick up that first programming book. It was confidence that led me to reach for positions that were 2 and 3 steps over my head. It was confidence that allowed me to believe that I could grow a company with no real experience in the area and sell. I remember when I really didn't have any confidence and I was basically a doormat that allowed people to walk all over me. I hated that feeling. So if I could help one woman recognize that she can change, if I can help one man recognize that he has the courage, and if I can help one leader changes how he leads a team, then I could impact not only one person, but generations of people. See, confidence is the core of everything that we do. Tapping into and leveraging that core is the most powerful action that we can take.
Ladies and gentlemen, you were just listening to Dawnna on that video talking about confidence. All right. Now, Dawnna, welcome back to our second segment.
Thank you.
All right. Now, tell us, our audience, you said that is the core of everything, our entire life. Tell our audience why you think the confidence is the number one factor that we need to gain before we do anything else.
You know, it's one of those things where when people look at confidence straight on, they think of all the things that they could do. But I'm going to actually do it a little bit in reverse and talk about what confidence feels like when you don't have it. Because I ran into that. I ran into a point in my life where I had literally had a significant amount of confidence, and then I lost it all. And so without it, I was depressed. I was unable to make decisions. And I don't mean I was unable to make massive decisions like what stock I was going to, be going for, who I was going to vote for president. I couldn't make decisions in regards to what to eat, what food literally to put in my body. I could not make that type of decision. I couldn't figure out what to put on for clothes every day because if I put on this, will people think that I look like that, or what will people think? So without confidence, there is a part of you that you're so concerned with what everybody else wants and what everyone else pictures in you that if it gets so low that you physically cannot function.
So, okay, now in the early part of your life, you said that you had a problem with confidence. Now,
yes.
What steps did you take to gain some confidence?
So what happened was right after I had retired and right before I got into speaking, I had devastation. There was something that happened between myself and my business partner, and I had suffered a significant loss, and it was really hard because he was someone that I had trusted for about 15, almost 20 years. And I had lost almost everything. And I did not trust my gut. I did not trust my head. If you don't trust those two things, it really makes it hard for you to make a decision. So what I ended up becoming extremely depressed. And I don't mean just a little depressed. I mean sitting on the side of the bed looking for the suicide clause in the insurance policy, kind of depressed. I had really lost it all. And I went and talked to a friend of mine who is a psychologist, Dr. Goodwin. And instead of, doing what I would call shrinking me, instead of trying to ask me the questions and get me to come up with the answer, he sent me on a journey. And he asked me to go and find confidence. He goes, go and find the root and the core of confidence. He goes, you are a scientist at heart, so I want you to go do the work and find this. Suddenly, instead of my nights being consumed by a lack of sleep because I was depressed, I was now not sleeping because I had this thing that was consuming me. It was all about, where was confidence? Where did it come from? How did I have it and lose it? I mean, if you had it, there's this thing that says if you have something and it's yours, you can never lose it. Well, then how did I lose it? Does that mean that I never really had it and I thought I did? That literally sent me on my journey. It sent me on a 5, now almost 6-year journey to not only find confidence, but then how can you have it? How can you get more of it? How can you live without losing it?
Quite amazing. So, you went on a journey to find your confidence. What steps did you take? That's the next question.
The first thing that I did was I did not look at this as I was finding it for myself. For me, this was actually a research project. So I started, as most researchers would do, we're going to create a hypothesis. So I created a hypothesis in regards to where I thought confidence came from, and then I started putting forth these tests to see if my hypothesis was true. And there were lots of iterations that I went through before I finally found the one that seemed to stick. And every test that we would try would come back and we had a positive response, and so we knew we're on the right track. And what it turned out was that we found confidence, and I say we because it wasn't just me by myself. It was me, and there were 2 or 3 other people that had been involved on and off in regards to helping me do my research. one thing that we found was that there were three elements that were specific to confidence. The first was competence, that you had to feel like you were competent in order to take on a particular activity or action. The second was desirable opportunity. You had to really want to do what it was that you were going to do. And then the third item was personal value. Whatever the action was had to be worth your time, energy, and effort. The challenge that people run into is that they'll see someone walking in a room and owning the room, and they'll say, wow, that person exudes so much confidence. Well, in actuality, what they're exuding is confidence towards a particular activity. It is the activity that determines the level of confidence that you will have towards it.
Very, very interesting. So there are three factors that your research showed. Number one, competence. Competence is basically whether you will be able to get the job done and to the satisfaction of yourself as well as the satisfaction of the customers or vendors or whoever else. Then there has to be an opportunity to do this. Just not you guys just go there and blindly do something, even if you have the confidence and even if you have the personal value. But those things are not enough. You have to have the opportunity, a desirable opportunity. And the last one is personal value. Now, the personal value, in my opinion, is very significant because the personal value is the one that decides what kind of action you are going to do with your competence and the opportunity, correct?
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Someone tells me, gives me $100 million and say, okay, go and kill this guy. Now, is that in my personal value to do it?
Exactly. And that's the other part of it, because you have to consider, so personal value, we looked at it as, is it worth your time, energy, or effort?
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth those three things? And that's where that personal value really comes in. Where we are mistaken most times in our society is that we trade our time for very little money.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Time is the most valuable thing that we have, yet we trade it so easily for things that are of little value to us. So we really don't want people to think of personal value as a financial thing, as much as we want them to think of it, is it worth your time, energy, and effort? So whether you barter that personal value for money or whether you barter that personal value for even your own moral standing is totally up to you. But what you're doing is you're bartering your personal value for that action.
I totally agree with you, because there is a lot of things that the first one you talked about, competence, and that also, when somebody's asking you to conduct a job, like I was watching your Starbucks story there, which we are going to play in a few minutes, and I see that you basically got all your audience under your wraps. And you have done a very good job on this, which is pretty amazing. So the confidence is, that's okay. Hold on for 1 second. There is somebody calling us. Hello, caller. Welcome to Dallas Live. Well, apparently, are they still there? Apparently, there's somebody else. Okay, no problem. Let's do this. I was talking about your Starbucks story. Now I see you have been talking to everybody else, and there is a huge audience there, and you have throwing in some humor and a little bit of jokes here and there, and then you are basically driving that entire audience. And I wish I had all that quality, because I am not as good as what you can do, and I envy you on that situation, by the way. So how did you get the confidence to do that type of work in front of such a huge audience?
I'm so glad you asked that. That's a very good question. The reason I'm glad you asked that is because competence is actually made of three specific elements. The elements that make up competence are your knowledge, which is what you know, right, versus your skills, which is what you can do. And those two are very different. You might study, let's say you wanted to be a surgeon, and you might read every book in the world in regards to being a surgeon, and you can identify the spleen versus the appendix versus the heart versus the liver, and you have it all down and perfect. But then when I put a scalpel in your hand, do you have the skills to actually make the cut? So there's a difference. So you have to have the knowledge, and then you have to have the skills. But the third part of that, and this is where we find people what we call their mojo superpower is when they locate their talent. Just so happens that my talent is verbal communication. That's my talent.
Oh.
So I'm always very comfortable in situations where I'm leveraging verbal communication. I can use that talent, or even in a case where I don't feel confident, I can use that talent or that mojo superpower to bring the bar down and make me feel more confident.
Now, Dawnna, there is one slight question I have on this. You said
Mhm.
skill skill of actually using the scalpel to perform the surgery. That's a
Mhm.
skill. Of course, the
Mhm.
knowledge is where all the organs are, where the nerves are, where the bones are, and so that you don't cut the wrong one. So that's a
Mhm.
knowledge. I agree. I was under the impression that talent is same as skill.
No, because you can always increase your skills. You can always increase your knowledge, but your talent is something that you're pretty much born with. You can make your talent exponentially better, but if there's something that you're not talented in, it's very hard to make it exponentially better.
Oh my goodness! So I'm not born with any talent. This is the conclusion.
No, everyone is.
Yeah.
Everyone has a talent.
Oh,
Everyone has
see, something you said some a few minutes earlier rings a bell because you said that you were able to find what your talent was or what your talent is. You said that your talent is the putting the words together to come up with a good speech. That's your
yes,
talent.
yes.
I don't have that talent. I mean, I'm working on it. I mean, radio talk show host is supposed to be doing exactly that. Be able to put the words together so that the audience doesn't go to sleep.
That's right.
Okay. Now, so far, I hope I kept you awake.
So far, I haven't yawned yet, so you're doing
All right. Now,
good.
see the previous guest. He said that my voice is nasal and it is irritating, and I am going to, if he's not on my show, and if he just meets me in on the street out there, and if I talk to him, as soon as I open his mouth, he will get very irritated, and if he's listening to my show, he will turn the knobs off or change it to some other channel. So now, how the hell do I bring extra confidence for my work? Now, do you think I have the talent to be a radio show host?
I will tell you exactly how to do it.
Okay.
Okay. The first thing is that you have to become what we call a mojo vater, right? A mojo
Hold on.
vater,
Mojo what? And then the last word?
mo, mojo vater, Mojovator, mojo vater.
Oh, okay.
A mojo vater does not care what other people think.
Ah, I see.
So first thing is, who cares what he thinks? Because you know what? It's, and I'm going to say this, and I don't mean it directly at you, but just for everyone out there, it is arrogant to believe that we, as an individual human being, that we are right for the 7 billion people on Earth. There are only certain people that we are right for. So guess what? That guy just ain't your guy. And it's okay, because there's 6.9 million other opportunities out there. So it's not him. Big deal. Next.
Well, okay, that's all right. As a matter of fact, I, for one, is always looking to improve my personality or my speech. I'm a guy who is pretty much signing off on any kind of self-improvement program. Uh, Motivator. Okay, so
Motivator.
okay, now we have to take a quick break, Dawnna. So what we will do, we are going to play a little bit of your Starbucks story, probably about a couple of minutes, and then we will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Dallas Live. I am your host, Dr. Ravi. My telephone number that you can reach us here is 469-795-8580. Once you reach us, don't hang up, because you can ask whatever question you want to Dawnna St Louis, and she will be able to answer it. And she's already answering some of my questions. Dawnna, we will be right back. But the Starbucks story, you may not be able to hear it. But in 2 minutes, I will come back online.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
I mean, how do you turn a random passerby into a stark raving fanatic. Well, I'll tell you, it happened to me and I didn't even know it. Anybody in here like Starbucks? Okay, got a few people. Anybody in here got the jersey? No? Tattoo? No one got the tattoo? I got the tattoo. It's right. Well, I'll show you later. One morning, I'm heading out to Starbucks. And I'm not a coffee drinker. Let me start by saying that. I don't drink coffee. But this particular morning, I was a little tired. Tired doesn't work for me. I need to be up. So I'm like, I heard these people got coffee. I'll try some. I walk in there. It is literally 6:15. Okay. Gonna tell you a secret. I'm not a morning person. Yeah. I don't like anyone before 9. I walk in there and this girl, Liz, she goes, "Hi, welcome to Starbucks." I'm like, "It is 6:15. How are you today?" "For real?" "So what do you like?" I said, "I don't drink coffee, but I don't want chocolate milk. I need some. I need it in. I need to get up." "Not a problem. So you don't like chocolate? Okay, how about this? We're going to give you white chocolate mocha. I got you covered. White chocolate mocha. Any white chocolate mocha fans?" Woo, girl, I know. Extra whip. Morning wasn't going a little already kind of crazy after being up so long. I reach into my purse. There's no wallet. There is no wallet. I had not been to Starbucks before. I didn't have the little phone app. I didn't have the little special card that I see people rolling up there with. I didn't even have the little barcode tattoo. I didn't have any of that. And nothing. And here it is. My coffee is right there. This is when I knew she was crazy. This is.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dallas Live. I am your host, Dr. Ravi, and the number to call is 469-795-8580. You are also listening to our featured guest, Dawnna St Louis. You just heard her on the YouTube, the Starbucks story, the top female motivational speaker. Dawnna, welcome back to our third segment.
Thank you.
All right, now here is what we heard. I was just watching with a lot of surprise, and it's a comedy part of it. And you are saying that you're not a morning person, and therefore you want to get some coffee, and you go there, and this girl at 6:15 in the morning is so fully up that you are, is this for real? I mean, I can't even open my eyes, and she's already fully awake and greeting me. And then you've lost your wallet. Now, I didn't want to continue that. Tell us, our audience, what happened afterwards. You didn't have the wallet. Then what happened?
So I didn't have my wallet, and this young lady, Liz, proceeded to give me the drink as well as the muffin, as well as the breakfast items, which I think were muffins and a banana that day, and then told me to have a great day. And I joked with her. I said, "You know what? You're going to have me arrested when I get outside, number one. Number two, you're going to lose your job, because this is why Starbucks is." I mean, obviously, I thought 6 years ago Starbucks was going to go out of business because they're giving away their food. That's not a good model. It turns out that Liz had plagued my dreams for like the next few nights that I was traveling, because I wanted to give her the money back from the purchase, that I didn't have the money, so I wanted to give it back to her. And when I went back to the store to give it to her, she remembered my name.
Oh,
she
really?
remembered, yes.
Oh.
And she remembered that I had gone on a speaking event, and she remembered what I ordered.
What a photographic memory. How did she get all this?
Crazy. I don't know. She still does. I see her all the time.
So
she does it all the time.
So that is her talent.
Oh my gosh. Her talent is interpersonal connection.
Huh. So she had some kind of mnemonics or something that naturally wired in her brain that she can remember everything.
She has great interpersonal connection skills. I've watched her over the years. She's actually in this book as well as several other books, because it is, watching her work, you can see her talent at work. She is truly an interpersonal connections person, and people that walk in there love her.
Oh, okay. Well, what is so then our interpersonal connection is is just a word in my for my understanding. Can you tell our audience what are the characteristics of interpersonal connection? How is she actually able to put things together and be able to remember That happened many
Absolutely.
days ago.
Absolutely. Now, how she remembers, I don't know because I don't remember everyone's. I don't remember people's names. People always say I connect with them as well. But what she does, what interpersonal connections is the ability to make someone feel as if you are standing in their shoes, as if you are their ally, that you understand where they're coming from. In truth, what happens is people feel like you see a little deeper into them and you know who they are. These are the type of people that you'll meet on a train or on a plane, and you'll end up telling them your life story, and you don't even know their first name. You
Right.
have an instant connection with them. She has the talent to bring that out in people.
Very amazing because this has happened to me. I have told my life stories to complete strangers. Somehow I
Mhm.
felt connected to them and I never saw them again. But I was
Mhm.
just telling them everything. And I'm
Mhm.
sure you had the same experience, correct?
Oh, absolutely. And I still see Liz all the time.
Huh.
She's right around the corner, so I see her at least 2 or 3 times a week. And what's funny is that people actually go to that Starbucks and they'll go, "You must be Liz," you know.
Now, wait
And
a
she
minute.
has that.
There's only one other thing that is a little surprising. Um,
Mhm.
she has this great interpersonal connection, like what you said,
Mhm.
and she can remember a lot of things. That's her talent, her interpersonal connection, and her memory are
Mhm.
combined together, or her talent. Now, why
Mhm.
is she still working in Starbucks?
She loves what she does.
Oh, so in
And
other,
the reason and the reason she loves what she does, by the way, is that well, Starbucks is a great company, but the reason she loves what she does, by the way, is because she's always leveraging her talent. When you are constantly leveraging your talent towards what you do, you will always love to do it. It's not work anymore. And I know it's so cliche. When you love what you do, it's not work. But in actuality, when you're leveraging your talent towards what you do, it's not work.
so what does she do at Starbucks?
She's a manager. I think she's a store manager there.
Store manager. So she has reached a position of importance. She's not just a, mixing coffee
She's
and.
yeah, she's not to say she's not just a barista, but she's not a barista. She's a store manager, and I think she's been there about 8 years.
Okay, so that means she has reached a valuable and I would imagine a very fulfilling job with financial gain.
Yes, she does, and when we talk about it, she absolutely loves what she does. She loves the people, and the reason is that she is leveraging her talent towards what she does every day.
Okay, that brings up the question you, Donna. How are you leveraging your talent, which is putting words together to give a good speech and keep the audience motivated? So, how is that working out for you?
Great. one of the com- one of the comments that I get quite often is that I'm quote unquote real. You know, they say the person that they see on stage and the person that they see off stage and the person that they talk to on the phone is all the same person, as it should be. There are a lot of times in the speaking industry, especially, that you'll see someone on stage and they'll be like a motivational speaker. And you'll say, wow, are they just that motivated all the time? And they're just so happy and so amazing and so true. You know, yes and no, because there has to be a part of that where you go, sometimes I'm just having a crap day, and it's okay because everybody sometimes I cannot drink my own Kool Aid. Sometimes I'm reading the book and going, I can't apply this today. It's just not going to happen today, and that's all right because that's real.
Okay, now that's quite amazing. Now there was a movie in 1992. I think the two comedians, and one of them is the first one to use the term mojo in 1992.
Okay.
And the mojo is, I think they one of them is they used to be on Saturday Night Live, and then they went on to make their own movies. And he said, "Hey, did you get you don't have the mojo? Or, hey, did you get the mojo?" And they were talking about it. Exactly.
Mhm.
Tell our audience what is mojo.
So Mojo, there's I'll give it to you a couple of different ways. There's Mojo from 1925. The original, word of Mojo was around 1925, and that meant that it was a magical elixir. It was a magical potion. People used to carry what they call Mojo bags, and it was basically a way of saying, if I have this bag, then I'll have good luck. Okay, They would also use scented mojo bags, which were supposed to make the person that they were the most interested in fall in love with them. But in truth, what they had was a physical element that they could have belief in. That's what it was.
Oh,
The
okay.
funny thing is that we still, to this day, regardless of what people think, use mojo. Because think about it. Michael Jordan had those North Carolina basketball shorts.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? That he
Yes.
wore underneath his regular shorts.
Yes.
Baseball players, and we see this on TV. Baseball players spit on their hands before they touch a bat. They
Correct.
think most people think it's because it has something to do with the grip of the bat. No, it's supposed to be for good luck.
All
There are
right.
things that we do all the time for good luck. People play the lottery using their birthdays and and special numbers because they believe that it's good luck. So mojo, from the traditional sense, had to do with a magic potion that brought about luck.
Okay. Now, in a traditional sense, that's what it is.
Yes.
What about now?
For from the book that I wrote, The Science of Mojo, mojo is when you have the perfect combination of unstoppable confidence and powerful influence.
Okay. Unstoppable confidence and powerful influence. Now, let's go and talk about your three top selling books. Can you go
Okay.
ahead and tell our audience the name of all three books, where they can find them, and are they
Yes.
available as a Kindle or other electronic versions?
Yes, there are. They all are. The first one is called YOLO, YOLO. And YOLO is a book about getting past the what ifs in life. It's also a book on confidence. It's written in the style of Who Moved My Cheese, and it's really about getting past the what ifs in life and jumping and moving forward. The second book is called The Audacious Acts of Successful Women. Now, this is truly a book. Sorry, guys, it is really for women, and it does talk about. There are 48 actions and stories in this book, and the goal is that you take one action per week and you read one story per week, and at the end of that week, you do a review to see how you did. And the goal is to increase your confidence a little bit every week.
Excellent.
And
Okay.
and then the third book, of course, is this one, The Science of Mojo. And even though it's not out yet, it's already been pre-ordered and pre-sold, more than I was expecting. So it's already slated as a top-selling book.
Which one? The third one?
The Science of Mojo.
The Science of Mojo. Now,
Yes.
in your write up, it says Science of Confidence. Is that the same name you are using, or you are calling it
I'm
this?
sorry. Yes, what happened was we had a we had a name change because it wasn't just about confidence. It was about confidence and influence. So the name of it is actually The Science of Mojo.
Okay, so let me make sure. All right, it's the Science of Mojo. So, ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen, you have three books written by Dawnna St Louis. YOLO, YOLO. Is that correct?
Yes. YOLO.
Yeah, YOLO. It's in the order of Who Moved My Cheese, and the next one is audacious acts of successful women. Now, how do you say audacious or audacious?
Audacious. Audacious. Audacious acts of successful women.
Okay, men, it says it's for women, so make sure you buy this for your woman. Okay.
Valentine's Day is right there.
Yes, it's coming up. So, if you want to get in the good side, you better buy this, man. So that's the recommendation from Dallas Live. The third book is actually a book that is already sold out. The first edition is The Science of Mojo. Mojo being standing for confidence. Very good. All right. Look like we have to go ahead and take a quick break here. And we come back, we will talk about rest of her ideas and what people should do to improve their motivation. Now, you are not strictly teaching, because everything that you taught and talked so far, it applicable to both men and women pretty much.
Pretty much.
All right. Very good. Let's listen to the one more thing that I wanted to talk to. You can't see yourself in the mirror. Now, what is the topic on this? It runs for about 48 seconds. What is it about?
So this one is about how we see ourselves one way in the mirror. We think that we look a certain way, and then we realize that what we see in the mirror isn't really what's there. We recognize later that there are changes, even though we haven't recognized them at that moment. Later, Monday morning quarterback, we see more clearly.
Okay, very good. Let's listen to this, and then we may have a short commercial, which happens to be a music break here, and then we'll be right back in about 3 minutes. Dawnna, please stay on the line.
Okay.
You go out, they take pictures, you get the pictures back, and you go, oh my God, is that my butt? Is this Photoshopped? That wasn't there when I put on the dress. Like, how do I look? Like, the mirror's right there, but we still ask someone else. So you can't always see yourself. So ask someone else to take a look. Just ask him, hey, you know me. You know me for a while. Forget about work. What are the things that I do pretty good? Why do you hang around me? What is wrong with you?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dallas Live. I am your host, Dr. Ravi, and the number to call is 469-795-8580. And you are also listening to our featured guest, Dawnna St Louis. She has written a number of books. The latest book, The Science of Mojo, has already been sold, and it seems to be a very interesting reading. I would like to get a copy of it. Dawnna, welcome back to our last segment. And
thank you.
And when is this book is going to be published?
It's coming out at the end of, what is this, February? Is this February? Yes, it's coming out at the end of March.
Okay, good. Now, in your career, you have trained or have you coached any elite athletes like the football players or the top business leaders? And if so, what is your experience?
Yeah, actually, I worked with quite a few executives as well as professional football players, and well, not just football players, but athletes in general. The first person actually was my cousin, who was a professional football player, and he was going to be on 30-30 for ESPN.
Okay.
And
all right, let's see what we have here.
Sorry.
Then somebody is calling. Maybe they're calling for you. Let's find out.
Maybe.
Yes, caller, you are live on Dallas Live. Go ahead, please. What's your name? Well, apparently not. Okay, let's continue with our conversation here.
Not a problem. I worked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I worked with professional athletes. I started off with my cousin, who was going to be on 30 for 30 on ESPN, and he wanted to be prepared to be in front of the camera, and it's
Okay. 1 second. Let's try this one more time. Yes, caller, you are live on Dallas Live. Go ahead. What's your name?
My name is John.
Don, welcome to the program. You are listening to Dawnna St. Louis. Do you have a question for her?
Well, yeah, I actually know Dawnna, and I just had some questions about what her experience was, because I've known about this book, have read the book, and I guess my question more is about how this book, because she has sold a number of copies, how it's already transformed some people's lives. Does she have any stories about how it has changed people already,
Okay.
as far as them reading it, and how has it impacted some of the people that have read the book?
Which book are you talking about?
The Science of Mojo.
Science of Mojo. Okay. Donna, I don't think you were able to hear him, right? Because we are not on Skype.
no, I can't hear him.
Okay, what he is asking is his name is Don Johnson. He says that he knows you, and he is asking how the book has changed lives of people. The Confidence of Mojo, or the Science of Confidence.
Science of Mojo.
Some examples.
Actually, we have a couple of examples. The first one is I've worked with a young man who was struggling for a while. He worked in retail. He's 22 years old and really having a hard time just getting a job. And he wanted to stop working in retail and get what he called a career starting position. And he had done the typical put in the applications, done all the things that, typical 22-year-olds would do right now, put in the applications and wait for someone to call back. He read the Science of Confidence as a pre-sale. He read it, and then he took the actions in the book, which included taking his resume, because one of the actions is to do something that no one else is doing.
Okay.
That was number one.
Uh-huh.
So he took his resume, he folded it up, put it in an envelope, and instead of just sending it or mailing it, he decided to use his, what we call Mojo superpower. His Mojo superpower was also interpersonal communication. He's able to talk people in and out of anything. So what he did was he went to the front desk of the company that he was interested in working at, and he talked to the girl at the front desk, and he was so funny and so charismatic that she wrote the name of the hiring manager on the envelope for him because he didn't know the name.
Okay.
She went a step further and got the hiring manager, who was one of the founders of the company, to come out and talk to him directly. So the guy comes out, talks to him directly, and right after the guy talks to him, he's so impressed that the young man came there, shook his hand, looked him in the eye, and gave him his resume. Within 24 hours, he had an interview. He studied through the interview. We talk again about how he can leverage his Mojo superpower for the interview, again, which is interpersonal communication. He leverages this talent during the interview, and literally within another 24 hours, he got the job offer. Now, here was the coolest thing about the job offer. They told him that they did not think that he could, that because he didn't have experience in the area of logistics, it's for a logistics organization, that they weren't willing to pay him the salary of, let's call it $32,000. That they didn't want to give him $32,000, but they would give him a little less, like $28,000. And he said, well, part of my job is going to be sales. They go, absolutely. He goes, and part of my job is going to be negotiations. They said, absolutely. He goes, great, $31,000.
Wow.
So he said, great, $30,000. That's what he said.
Oh.
So of course they this takes some guts, some chutzpah to pull this off.
That's right.
So he says $30,000. The guy on the phone laughed so hard. He said, $31,000, and that's my final offer. So within 1 week after reading the book,
yes,
he had secured a salaried position.
Very good.
So that was one of the examples. And another short example is that we had a young lady who was working in an organization, a very large international organization, and it was LexisNexis, and she wanted to be a project manager. And she was not even on the radar to be project manager. And we gave her the steps that she needed to take in order to secure the next level. And one of the things we talk about is as if. You don't have to fake it till you make it, but sometimes you have to act as if you're someone else just for a moment so that you can secure what you need to secure to help you build your confidence. That was 3 years ago when she was a part of our study.
Okay, very good.
And now 3 years later, she is the global project manager.
Wow. So
she really moved.
There is a significant advantage of people reading through your book and actually following what you have written. Caller, any other questions?
No, that helped. Thank you so much.
Thanks for calling Dallas Live. So very good. That's a fascinating story. That means there must be a number of other people who have read through. There must be a lot of other similar stories, correct?
Yeah, so we did case studies. We did several case studies. In fact, one of the ones that we talk about is the helium balloon test, which is on my website. There's a little vignette on that. So we talk about the helium balloon test, and we talk about the difference between people who have massive amounts of confidence and massive amounts of influence versus people who don't. And we talk about how to get that.
Massive amount of confidence. You know what? Everybody can use... not even massive. Most people don't have any confidence. Whenever they start anything. So
yeah, they have very little. But here's the big thing: you can have influence. Mojo is a combination of powerful influence and unstoppable confidence. That's what the ultimate in Mojo is. But what it really comes down to is you'll see people, and we see them all the time in the news, that have lots of influence, but absolutely no confidence. For example, if you look at, remember, having no confidence can lead you into a state of depression, a state of deep depression. So if you look at people like Philip Seymour Hoffman, who recently died,
yes,
or the gentleman that died from Glee. On the outside, you see them and you're like, wow, they have everything going for them. They have a great amount of influence. They're on TV. Everyone loves them. But what everyone loves is the fake it persona that they have put forth. There is a fraudulent persona that they are putting forth, and they're so afraid that people won't love the real them. So they're actually afraid to be as confident as they could be.
They know that's pretty amazing. And especially it seems to be happening more and more in Hollywood, simply because their entire life perhaps is, what what we see in their movies, but their personal life may be totally different.
Well, and that's the thing. We see it in Hollywood because those are the ways for us to see it the most. But I got to tell you, there were lots of times when I would be interviewing women that were executives of international. I mean, you're talking about these huge global organizations, automakers, and they would be at the top levels of the organization, and they would say things to me like, I am just waiting for someone to pull back the curtain and know that all of this is not real. This is a person.
Many rich folks have also said this many times, and all the riches, they feel like a fake, and all the riches might disappear anytime, and they are not sure whether they even deserve all this. Now
exactly.
The last question I want to ask you, Dawnna, is the fear of failure is the number one cause of losing confidence?
Yes. And but that's the one thing that, and I don't want to say you just have to get over it, because that's not the case at all. What you really have to do is you have to lower the bar. And I'll give you a really quick story about that. I cannot ski. I cannot ski. I am from South Florida, so I actually believe in my heart of hearts that I am allergic to snow. I know it's just frozen water, but whatever. I'm sure I'm allergic to it. And so when I was going to go out on the bunny slopes, the first thing I was thinking was, where are the slopes that the bunnies aren't afraid of? Because I need to go on those slopes, because they got to be easier than what these people are trying to make me go down. I was standing inside the lodge and thinking, I feel my leg breaking already, so I know when I get on skis, it's definitely going to break. Not looking forward to skiing. So what do people do? Well, if I was a person who was faking it, right, I would go out there and I would pretend that I knew what I was doing, right? And then I would do what most people do when they're in that situation. I would make up something. Oh, the ski. Oh, my boot. Oh, this sword that they have in my hand. Right? So that's one thing that they do. The other thing that they come up with excuses. They fake it. That's never the best way to go because it's not being your true, authentic self.
I
So what
see.
I did was I leveraged my mojo superpower, which is verbal communication, and I said, okay, so here's the deal, people. You all are here to get a viral video of someone tumbling down this mountain, and I am today's tumbler. So what I'm going to need you to do is recognize that I'm using this body as a weapon, and if you get in front of me, you will probably get tumbled upon. So stand behind me, get your videos out, and let's make this thing go viral, people. We're going to make it happen. Everyone thought it was hilarious. They thought it was fun. They knew ahead of time that I was a bad skier and that I was not going to be skiing well, and I had no idea why they put these objects in my hand to kill people and skewer them with. So they knew I was totally outside of my element. But because I was so transparent and authentic and passionate, I had lowered the bar. So no matter how slow I went down the slope, I was confident. I was confident that I could do just as badly as I thought I could do. you know?
Excellent. Okay, so actually, Dawnna, we have come to the conclusion of our program here. I would like you to go ahead and plug in your three books and where they are available, and then we will close the program.
Absolutely. So, again, my name is Dawnna St Louis, and my website is www.dawnna, which is actually spelled DAWNNA.com. And my books are YOLO, YOLO, The Audacious Acts of Successful Women, and the last one is Science of Mojo. But if you go to my website, on the home page by the end of the day, you will see the 3 links to the books. So if you're interested in getting them, you can grab them there.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, you were listening to Dawnna St. Louis. I am your host, Dr. Ravi, and we will be right back. Dawnna, please stay on the line.
Thank you.